ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਸੋਚ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਟਰੰਪ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤਾਲੁਕ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਔਰ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਗਰਮ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨ 50 ਟੈਕਸਸ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਰੀਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟਿੰਗ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁਣ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਰੀਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟਿੰਗ ਕਰਨਾ ਮੰਗਦੇ ਆ ਰੀਡਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਟਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਲ ਡਿਮਾਇਓ ਜੋ ਅਸੈਂਬਲੀਮੈਨ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਸੈਂਡੀਏਗੋ ਏਰੀਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਕਾਫੀ ਐਕਟਿਵ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਆਓ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਆ ਕਾਲ ਡਿਮਾਇਓ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ Carl, welcome to Aaj Kal America. That was just the Prop 50 and your involvement in it. Can you please give us a brief intro to Carl DeMaio, and then we'll lead into what Proposition 50 is and what it means for California?
Well, thank you for having me on. And I'm a California state legislator currently. I've been in office just 9 months. I made the decision to go into the state legislature because I am angry and frustrated, like many Californians, with bad policies that have been implemented by the existing political class in our state. People can't afford to live here anymore. Crime has increased. Homelessness is off the charts. Schools are failing. Jobs are being destroyed. And yet the politicians in Sacramento are doing nothing to solve the problems. They're actually making things worse. And so people are fleeing the state. They're moving to other states. And I don't want to flee. I'm staying and fighting. In addition to being a member of the state legislature representing San Diego's 75th Assembly District in San Diego County, I am chairman of Reform California, which is a statewide political grassroots organization that I have led for the last 15 years, focusing on holding government accountable at the state local level. Prior to my work in public service, I started and sold 3 companies by the age of 30 and was very successful in the business world. And that's why I'm able now to give my time back to the people as a public servant.
And that's a pretty good accomplishment, and you're stepping into the public service arena. Uh, what we know about Proposition 50 is it started from President Trump and Texas. How does it relate to California?
Well, I would argue with that assumption. Proposition 50 is Gavin Newsom's corrupt redistricting plot. And let me tell you where this really began. It began in 2010, way before Donald Trump. In California, politicians for many decades did something called gerrymandering. It's where they would manipulate the lines of their own districts, and they could do that to silence voters and pick the voters that they felt were most beneficial for them. What it meant was incumbent politicians protected themselves and communities got separated and their voices got diluted, particularly minority voices. And in 2010, Californians collected signatures on a citizens initiative to take power away from the politicians and give it to the Independent Citizen Redistricting Commission so that the citizens would be able to draw the lines. And that the lines would be drawn not based on politician advantage or partisanship, rather what's best for keeping communities together and giving communities a voice. And as a result, it's a very transparent and fair process, producing more competitive maps and districts, and really emphasizing the notion of community involvement. The politicians opposed that initiative in 2010. And for the last 15 years, they've been lying in wait, with emphasis on lying, to come up with a reason to get the power back. And that reason is today, Trump in Texas, but make no mistake about it. The politicians want the power back because they've always opposed having citizens draw the lines. Might I also add that in kindergarten, I learned that 2 wrongs don't make a right. And what Newsom is trying to do with Prop 50 is he's trying to rig elections. And he says, well, the reason why we're doing this is because Trump is bad, Texas is doing something bad, so we ought to do something bad too. No, we ought to stay with our good system and really challenge Texas and all the other state legislatures across the country to adopt an independent redistricting commission by citizens as we have here in California. And so I don't want to destroy democracy to save it, which is what Prop 50 does. I don't want to become Trump to stop Trump, which is what Newsom is trying to do with Prop 50. What I want to do is make sure we have a fair election and that we have public input into the drawing of lines. And that's why I'm urging people to vote no on Prop 50. It's the right thing to have citizens draw the lines, not the politicians.
Right. And conceptually, that makes sense. But the arguments that we're hearing are that Texas is doing it to steal 5 congressional seats. Therefore, to balance that, California has to do it. The allegation is the Republicans are cheating in Texas. Therefore, it's right for California to cheat to fix that.
Let me
The
address that
fact that we
directly.
actually went to
Let
an
me
independent
address that
commission
directly.
does
Yeah,
make it
let me
sound
address that
fairer.
directly.
So, where is this fight currently? I know we're going to the ballot box in November 4th, but I hear there's a legal battle going on. Is that likely to prevent this?
Right, but let me address again the foundation of your question. What you're suggesting is something's happening in Texas that's wrong. So what we need to do here in California is treat people unfairly. We have to silence voices. We have to basically disenfranchise communities and voters. That is not defensible. That is not right. And it is absolutely appalling that that is the argument that's being made here. That somehow, in order to save democracy, we must kill democracy. In order to give fair representation, we must in California do unfair representation and silence voters. That's not who we are in California. Two wrongs don't make a right. It is corrupt. And I would urge fair-minded people to have no part of silencing communities or ripping communities apart or making an unfair election. Might I also add that Texas did not choose to do redistricting mid-decade. They did maps in 2020 that were deemed by the courts to be illegitimate. And they were forced by the courts through the legal system to redo their maps. California was not forced to redo their maps. They are choosing to try to eliminate the redistricting commission and redo maps. And so it is very different. And the idea that it's somehow equated to Texas or legitimized by Texas, that's a false proposition. It is literally the window dressing trying to create legitimacy or some equivalency where none exists. It's just really bad that Prop 50 would silence voters. And yes, there are legal challenges, but right now this is at the ballot box. So the best way to resolve the Prop 50 problem is to get voters to vote no on the issue when it comes before the November 4th. People will start getting their ballots in the mailbox in the first week of October. And when you get your ballot, I urge you, do your homework, do your research, and vote no to protect democracy and defend fair elections.
And just following on from that, the legal battles, I know you said that sort of the November 4th going to the ballot is critical. Our deputy attorney for the U.S., Hermeet Dillon, a local Californian, has pointed exactly about the legal reading that Texas did, and the court threw it out. Is there a blatant cover-up of that fact by the other side that's pushing this Proposition 50 to vote yes just because?
Oh, sure. Gavin Newsom and these politicians lie. That's what they do for work. They lie. They tell you that the cost of living is not going up when you know it's going up because your costs are going up. They say that crime is not a problem when you know it is, when your convenience store gets ransacked by a bunch of looters. And so these people lie, and that's what they're doing here. And sadly, most mainstream media outlets tend to be left leaning, and they don't want to cover stories on a fair basis. So my hope is that voters will see the inherent unfairness in Prop 50 and recognize that we cannot, destroy democracy in order to save it. We must stand up for what is right and what is wrong, even when others may be doing something that's wrong. And I do believe that the politicians in Texas should not be drawing the maps. They should set up an independent commission and let the citizens draw the maps, just like we have. But I can't control what they do in Texas. I can certainly govern what we do here in California. And there's a chance for us to choose between making elections fair by having citizens draw the lines, by keeping by keeping the Citizens Redistricting Commission by voting no on 50, or joining in the bad behavior by voting yes on 50. And I don't want to join in bad behavior. I don't want to do something wrong simply because I believe someone else is doing something wrong.
Right. Going to this Proposition 50 and what we did back in 2010, where we brought this independent commission in. Imagine that November 4th, Proposition 50 does succeed with the yes vote. What is the future for that independent commission?
Oh, it will never come back. Politicians say it's temporary, but they're liars. They've always wanted the power, and once they get the power, they'll never give it up. That's the nature of these corrupt politicians. They're only in it for their own political ambition, higher office, manipulating their districts so that they don't have to worry about losing their seat because of their bad behavior and bad policies. We also know that if Prop 50 passes, there will be a lot of legal challenges at the federal level, as Deputy Attorney General Harmeet Dillon alluded to. But those legal challenges don't happen until there's a decision by the voters. And if there are legal challenges, they will be very costly for California taxpayers. Right now, this election is costing us $250 million, and we're in the middle of a budget deficit. They want to raise the sales tax across the state. They want to raise gas tax and income tax and property tax because they say, oh, we don't have any money. Well, you have $250 million for an unnecessary special election. And then, of course, the litigation will cost money when these lawyers start charging the money. So we do know that there will be legal challenges after November 4th if Prop 50 somehow gets a yes vote. So that's why I'm saying save us money, save us hassle, vote no.
Right. Following on from that, at the moment they're saying this is only for congressional seats. Is it going to impact the Assembly and the Senate and the local legislature? And what about the city councils and the county supervisors? Are they likely to be impacted too?
Right now, Prop 50 would eviscerate the independent commission for Congress, but we know that once they do that, they will simply extend over those decisions. So, for example, you could see them saying, well, now that we have a congressional map, why don't we just simply nest Assembly and state Senate districts underneath this map? So once they get the camel's nose under the tent and get the power on one element, they will then expand that. So again, these politicians cannot be trusted. They never supported the commission in the first place. So when someone works hard to oppose the creation of a commission, know that when they have a chance to destroy that commission, that's exactly what they will do, not just for the congressional map, but also for state legislative maps as well.
Totally. Well, Carl, thank you for this. In the interest of time and your impending next scheduled task, we can conclude here. Look forward to having another discussion at a later time. Thanks for joining Aaj Kal America. Just before we go, would you want to give your contact if somebody wants to know more about it?
Yes, if you want to work on no on Prop 50 or at least find out more information, go to the website defendfairelections.org. Defendfairelections.org. That is the website you can go to for more information. And that also has a way for you to contact my office.
Well, thank you, Carl. Appreciate this time out of your busy schedule. And hopefully we can schedule another time. But appreciate the work you're doing. And this is an effort to inform at least a section of our California community on what Prop 50 really means. So hopefully this will be of benefit and look forward to chatting with you again. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you
ਤੁਸੀਂ
so
ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ
much
ਅੱਜ
for
ਕੱਲ
having me.
ਅਮਰੀਕਾ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਸੋਚ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਦਰਜੀਤ ਕਾਲੀਰਾਏ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਗਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਕਾਲ ਡਿਮਾਇਓ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਅਸੈਂਬਲੀ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਜੀ ਹਾਂ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਦੇਵੋ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਕਾਲ